So I'm Head of Corporate Services at Fareham Council, and Miles asked me to come along today just to tell you a little bit about how DISC has affected the organisation for the better, and I'll give you just a little bit about how it's worked for me personally as a manager there. So just the first slide there, why did we decide to use DISC? About 18 months ago, a new chief executive was appointed who wanted to change the management structure, wanted a more modern approach, wanted to be more responsive to customers. We're very much trying to gear ourselves towards customer first. If it doesn't matter to the customer, why are we doing it? So a bit more of a private sector mentality, really. We really needed a team approach. As many of you will be aware, local authorities tend to work in very siloed ways and say, computer says now. So we wanted to get away from that really, and really try and combine our management team and get our managers actually talking to each other in a way that would make the business work. We needed to improve communication, and to do that we established that the way to do that was to understand each other, because as Miles has pointed out to you early on in his slides, we are all so different, but we just don't know it. We don't know why somebody irritates us, they just do. Why does the audit manager irritate the living daylights out of me? Because I'm not like her. Why do I probably annoy the living daylights out of her? Because she's not like me. Why does the finance director tell me that I could possibly be the most expensive asset that the council owns? Because I'm a high I, so I come up with all the ideas of how we can make things better, which involves spending money. He's a high C, which says, give me a report on this and tell me the long-term objective with the payback. I don't want to do that. So how did we use it? We had a workshop for all our managers, which involved our senior management team, including our chief executive, who revealed his profile to everybody as well. And then our next level down, which is myself, my level, head of service level, where we all came together for a workshop. It was absolutely driven by the chief executive, and without it being driven from the top, I'm not sure it would have happened. So you absolutely have to have buy-in from the top, because struggling down the bottom, trying to get buy-in, just wouldn't work. He came up with, along with Miles's help, an ideal team profile. It might not surprise you to know that our team profile as an organisation with all the managers was SC. So lots and lots of steady eddies, lots and lots of very compliant people that want to tick boxes and write reports. We wanted to gear ourselves towards having more D and more I, so that we could make quicker decisions, come up with the ideas, make the decisions and drive it through more quickly. That didn't mean that he said, right, okay, then who's an S, who's a C, because you're out, and we'll bring in all the I's and the D's.
Good idea.
It was considered, but it didn't go down well. So that wasn't obviously an option, but we needed the S's and the C's to understand the I's and the D's, and vice versa. And it actually helped us to form teams. For instance, if we were working on a project, there is absolutely no point whatsoever in all those people involved in that project being S's and C's. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to be on his desk in 2 weeks' time because they'll be too busy going through the detail. So we actually now pick people that form project teams, not just based around their profiles, obviously based around their experience, but we try and merge those together so that we have got drivers, we have got decision makers, and we have got people that will dot the I's and cross the T's when we're up for public examination, things like that. So it's helped us in that way. How did the organisation benefit from it? We have got a much more team approach. We work together much better as a team now across the board, and we do understand each other. For instance, I like very short, sharp, succinct information being given to me, and apparently when I've had enough, I do this. I didn't know I did that, but I do. So when I've got the information I need, I'm swinging on my necklace, and people will actually say to me now, you've got it, haven't you, you've had enough, and I don't even know I'm doing it, but that's the kind of thing we do unconsciously without realising it. We actually understand our colleagues, so I don't hate the audit manager anymore. I actually quite like her. She's quite a nice person. But I actually understand why I didn't like her. It wasn't her that I didn't like, I just didn't like her approach. She was asking me for far too much detail when I wanted a quick, snappy decision. Now, I don't even go and talk to her about anything until I've got all those facts, yeah. Or I send somebody that suits her capabilities. I actually make sure that I've got all the information ready, because that helps me to get that quick decision, and it's obviously a lot less frustrating. We've actually got a reduction in bureaucracy. We changed some of our meetings. We've stopped, guiltily having meetings for meetings' sake. We have to actually do what adds value. So if we want to discuss something, how can I say this? If the audit manager was going to the meeting, to make the meeting more succinct, I'd go and brief her first, so that she's got a lot of the facts when we go to the meeting. We're actually there, we're making decisions, we've got all the information, everybody's on board. So it works for us in that way. And we have a much more open management style. We actually have people saying, we're not doing that just because you're a high eye, we're not doing it your way. You know what I mean? People actually understand that, so we have an open management style where we discuss our strengths and some of our weaknesses together, and we know, when some of our responses are made, why they're being made. Why did we choose tailor-made? Well, Miles sold the concept to the chief exec, which was great. However, it was my idea. What happened was, about 8 years ago, in a different organisation in a different part of the country, I was working in another local authority which had a fairly dysfunctional management team. We'd had 4 chief executives within 4 years. It was rated poor when we were going through sort of CPA assessments, for something you may have read about. And the chief exec, the latest chief exec, had his head in his hands saying, why doesn't this organisation work? I've got all these good people, they're qualified, they're experienced, it's not working. We actually brought in the company to assess our organisation, and found out that the entire management team were Ds. So everybody wanted to be in charge, make decisions, making bad decisions, rapidly implementing them, and everybody else was running around trying to pick up the pieces. Still didn't mean that we got rid of everybody, although there were 1 or 2, but we did actually reorganise that management team, and it's now working much more effectively. I actually had a full personal profile, and believe you me, it is warts and all. It's really, really good stuff about you, and it's really, really bad stuff about you. It points out your strengths and your weaknesses. You can't argue with it, it's absolutely accurate. You would see yourself in that report if you had it done. It's shockingly stark, shockingly realistic. I actually shared that with my current chief executive and said, if you tell anybody about that, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to share this with you, because it does have your weaknesses. He'd known me for about 2 years by that point and said, I don't believe this person's never met you. And I said, no, they didn't meet me. He said, they know everything about you. I said, yeah, I know. Said, that is absolutely you. It says you like shiny things, it says you like going out, it says your appearance matters. It's absolutely you. And I said, yes, I know. Shows your weaknesses? Yeah. He said, introduce me. Let's get this in, because this is the kind of thing I want. He had to have his done first, of course. So Miles did his personal profile first, and it was absolutely him. He couldn't believe it, really. Which is why it became introduced into the organisation, and which is why it's been used as such an effective tool. The reason we used tailor-made was, if we can stay local, we do. So we sourced, found out that tailor-made operated DISC, a local company. They had a good reputation and a track record with DISC. And I have to say, when we held our managers' workshop, we had some very, very negative managers who were actually ringing me up saying, do I have to attend this? I could be spending a day in the office. And I was having to say, yeah, 3-line whip, you have to attend. Those people at the end of the day said, absolutely spot on. I absolutely loved it, and they're really, really bought into it. The dangerous thing is, this is really, really infectious. Once the senior management team had their DISC profiles done, our people below us actually are really, really interested in it, and now they're all saying, oh, we'd really like to have ours done. We think we could work better. How can we get ours done? Of course, we have to be careful with the money that we spend, and we did it focused on the management team because obviously they're the leaders and the decision makers, but it's really infectious, and we are thinking of expanding it to different levels of the organisation now. So I hope that helps.